everybody, and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, I have lots of little stories for you guys, rather than just rambling on about a few different topics. So yeah, there's a lot to cover, but today I'm going to be talking about giving myself the ick. I'm going to be talking about being spied on in a public toilet, and Casper finding his long-lost twin. So anyway, before we start, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world, and also, it's not long now until my meet and greet with Red Post. So if you want to find out more information about that, then be sure to head to thisesme.com. But anyway, let's begin. Let's get into it. So yeah, what should I talk about first? Maybe Casper's long lost twin, which is kind of like a weird story. So anyway, the other day I thought, let's get the old man out. Let's take him for a blast, because recently he's been like a little bit of a couch potato. He's been a bit of a whale, more like a beach whale actually. He's been super chill lately. Casper is the sort of horse where if it's really windy or rainy outside, he gets a little bit more fired up. But in the summer, when the sun's shining, we've actually had some really nice weather lately. He's just so chilled. He's like a little beach donkey, chilling. And he is the sort of horse, now he's becoming an older gentleman. He's 18 now, I believe. 2006 he was born. So sometimes he takes a little bit of a while to warm up. So before I school him recently, I've been taking him for like a little walk and a trot up and down the road as a bit of a warm up, which has actually been working really well. But anyway, I thought I'll take him for a hack across the forest, because I haven't taken him there for a while, and often he perks up a little bit. He has the best time when I take him out for a hack. Like, that is Casper's thing. He is my hacking and YouTube looking fancy model pony at the moment. Like, we're not focusing on jumping big or anything like that anymore, which we haven't done for a while, but he's just my hacking horse. He's my little happy hacker, and that is what he's happiest doing, so that's what we're doing. So anyway, took him for a hack on the forest, and as I was sort of tacking him up, also I did film a helmet cam video. So I had a helmet cam on, I had a chest cam on. If you're wondering, not sponsored, but if you want to know what camera it is, because I do get a lot of questions, it is the DJI Osmo. At the moment, like, it's between that and GoPro. Every now and again I use one or the other, depending on the newest one that I buy. But at the moment, Osmo are in the lead, I'd say, with quality. The stabilization is very good for any of my camera nerds out there. But anyway, moving on. So I had all my gear on, did a little groom tack up and ride with me, which I will probably do a voice. I actually need to edit that. That is today's job. I need to edit that, and I'll probably do a voiceover on it where I'll just ramble and chat like I do in the podcast. So if you want to listen to that, go and check it out at some stage when I finally get around to editing it. Anyway, so when we arrived, there was another horse box there, and I was like, oh, how long is it going to take for Casper to realise that there is another horse there? And it took him a little while, because we were kind of like tacking up round the corner, but as soon as he realised there was another horse, he grew like 2 hands. He went from little 14-hand Connemara pony to 16-hand stallion. He was like, oh, put his head right up. And also, because we were, to be fair, he doesn't get as excited now, but when he was younger and we used to take him out in the horse box, Joey still does this, you know, when they get a little bit excited and they're just like, ooh. But now he's so chill. He was just standing there being tacked up, like, I'm just having a little snooze, I'm just catching some Z's before we go for our ride. Anyway, so he saw this other horse and he was like, oh my gosh, friend. They actually set off before us, because we were fiddling around with the cameras, making sure that they were on, they're in the right position, because the last thing that you want to do when you're filming a helmet cam video is realise that you can't even see the horse in the background, or the horse in the video, and it just looks like you're flying through the trees, which, I don't know, it's kind of a cool angle, but sometimes it just doesn't look right, so you want to make sure that it looks good. Anyway, so we were off, and I was like, okay, let's not go the route that other horse is going, because if not, Casper's going to want to make a friend, and that horse might not be friendly. So we went for our little ride. To begin with, like, Casper's always the horse where he's super chill to start with. Like, it's always on the way out there, he's like, da 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 da. As soon as he knows he's going home, though, oh my goodness, that horse can go. So I actually met up with my dad like halfway through the hack, and he put up a drone, which is pretty cool, because Casper is one of those horses where he's just so good with the drone, like, it doesn't bother him at all. I mean, he's been trained up. We've been flying drones around with him for many, many years. So for him, like, is not bothered at all. And we did this one shot where I was galloping up this hill and the drone was following us, and oh my goodness, it is so cool. It is a cool shot. And he proper went for it. He went from beached whale to someone had put lightning up his bum. He was zooming. He was going for it. He was like, call me old man now, Esme. Look how fast I can go. And I was like there, tears streaming out of my eyes, being like, oh my goodness, he's still got it in him. He's still got it in him. So he went for it. But the thing was though, with the drone, because we were going up a hill and with a drone, to make it kind of not, to make it nice and smooth, because when you're a drone flying, you don't really want it to be like bitty. I am also such a drone flying snob now. Like when I watch TV programs and you can like properly see the drone move or it's a little bit bitty, I'm like, they could have just done a cut there. They just should have. This is what happens when you work in media, or you work in like when you edit videos. When you watch normal TV, you're like, they could have just put a gimbal on that. Why is that clip so shaky? Especially like local news. Me and my dad are always like, why have they done that? Why, they should have just done that. Like, and when I'm watching TV, I'm like, oh, that's an anamorphic lens. I don't know, just stuff like that. So I'm the worst person when it comes to watching TV. I'm pretty good at holding my tongue. But there are some things where I'm like, oh, that was a good transition, or oh, that was anyway. We'll move on. We'll move on from the camera geek, media geek, geeking out. Anyway, so the drone had to go nice and smooth. So the drone was going kind of like horizontal across. It wasn't going up. But because we were going up a hill, the ground was getting closer and closer and closer to the drone. So that meant when me and Casper were going up the hill, we were getting closer and closer and closer to the drone. And at one stage, it was pretty much at our eye level, and we galloped past it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is the same horse that spooks at the noise of his own poo hitting the ground. Like, this is the horse that is scared of his own haylage net sometimes and runs away from it for fun in the field. This is the same horse that is scared if there is a glove on a fence that wasn't there last week. This is the horse that's scared of plastic bags. And I was like, how on earth have you just cantered or galloped past a drone, which sounds like a swarm of bees, could not care less, does not give anything, does not care. And I'm like, horses, you are weird. Why are you scared of some things and not the other? To be fair, sometimes I spook at things. Like if I'm swimming in the sea and something touches my leg, I'm like, dude, get away from me. You're probably just a bit of seaweed, but do not touch my leg. No. So I can understand why horses can be spooky. I mean, I used to be scared of swimming at the deep end at the swimming pool when I was younger. Especially, do you know what? It was at my local swimming pool, like the big one. They have a wave machine, and I used to be scared of the wave machine because it looks kind of like a cage, doesn't it? And I was that kid with goggles that always would swim to the bottom. But I did not want to go near the wave machine because I thought they kept like sharks or something in there. They obviously didn't, but my friend joked about it once and I believed her. So anyway, so that is really off topic. But yeah, I was just so surprised at how brave Casper was. I mean, he's always been fine with the drone, but yeah, he was on one the other day. So he is getting a day off. He's getting a rest because those little legs have not moved that fast in a long old while. Apart from that one time when him and Joey went absolutely mental zooming around the field. But we do not talk about that. Joey was fine. But did I have a mini heart attack while I was watching it? Yes, I did. Anyway, so yeah, on our way back, it was really weird because we kind of set off at the same time and then we came back at the same time. There was a lady on a grey horse and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like Casper's long lost twin, because it was just so many coincidences that we set off at the same time, came back at the same time. I mean, that's not too much of a coincidence because I guess if you're going for a ride, you'll probably go for a ride at around the same sort of time. But what was even weirder was that we were both wearing green as well. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's like we're twins. Both arrived at the same time, both left at the same time, and we're both wearing green. And we both had grey breeches or jobbers on as well. Because she was like, oh, I have a pair of jobbers like that. And then she was wearing them. She was like, oh, wait, I'm wearing them right now. And we were like, this is so weird. It was like, it was just like such a coincidence. But anyway, there we go. We were joking that that's Casper's little long-lost twin, little friend that he met there. Although, actually, that's one thing that I would love to search or research. Maybe I should look up one day and see if I can find any of Casper's siblings, because I know Actually, I do know quite a bit about Casper's breeding. Joey, I know the most about his breeding. And I don't know if I want to look up Joey's siblings because they're all probably going to be way more successful than he is. They're going to be like, oh yeah, jumping this height. And then Joey's like, I'm a YouTube horse and I have fun and I go on hacks and I look pretty in saddle pads. But no, Joey's actually been doing really well lately. He's been looking so good. So hopefully we're going to get him out and do some jumping this summer. That is the plan. But yes, let me consult my notes app of what other little stories I have for you guys. Oh, I'm going to have to tell you the public toilet story because this one, next level, surprised. But before I tell you about that, going back to shows and summer and competing, be sure to stock up on your show essentials because thinking about it, actually, I probably need to get some white plaiting bands because Joey has lightened up so much since I last competed him last year. So that's a show essential that you probably need to stock up on purple shampoo. And you can do all of that at Red Post. They are online at redpostequestrian.co.uk if you want to check them out. Get your summer essentials now, especially fly spray. You want to stock up on that because the last thing you want to do is go to a show, go somewhere and your horse is covered in flies. So I always like to keep extra supplies in the horse box. But anyway, thank you again to Red Post for sponsoring. And now onto my toilet story. I feel like there's been a lot of toilet stories in this podcast thinking about it. But anyway, me and my friend, every now and again, I feel like if you do something in the evenings after work or after school or whatever, it just makes the week a little bit more fun and it makes your day feel a little bit longer, but in a good way. So every now and again, me and my friend, after work, she'll come to my house or I'll pick her up and we will go and just have like a little evening shop because there are a few shops near us that close pretty late. They don't close till like 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock. So we were like, okay, let's go on a little late night girly shopping trip. Even just, going around the supermarket late at night. It's a vibe. It's fun. It's just going for a little walkabout, see what they have. You never know what they have. Buy some snacks, that kind of thing. So we were like, let's go out. So we went to one of our sort of local home shopping places where they sell like, I don't know, cushions, candles, cutlery, all the stuff that you need for your home. And we thought, let's have a little walk around. And then we were mooching about a bit. She wanted to get some pink coasters for her new office desk kind of thing. So I was like, perfect. We can find some coasters for you. We can find some bits for the cottage and the reading room, that kind of thing. Anyway, so while we were there, as things happen, we'd been out for a little while and we're like, oh, we both need the toilet. Let's go and use the facilities because this at-home shopping place also has a cafe. So we're like, let's go to the toilet. Anyway, we went into the toilet. As we were both sitting there, having a wee, as you do. My friend was like, Esme, do not look up. And I was like, what? What do you mean don't look up? So I slowly looked up to the ceiling. Now, the sort of ceiling it was is, the sort of ceiling that they have at schools and maybe like hospitals and places like that where there's lots of kind of like tiles in a square. There were some tiles that were not there. These polystyrene sort of tile things, they were not there. There was, and I'm not just talking about like a little peeping Tom sort of hole where it was kind of like an eye hole. Oh no, there was a crater in the ceiling and it went up into the roof and I was like, are you kidding me? I was there mid-piss looking up and I was like, oh my goodness. I was going to say I'm going to poo myself. I was that scared. But to be fair, out of all the places to be, being on the toilet was probably the right place to be because the fear that went through my body that there could be somebody up there and just poke their head out and be like, oh, hi there, while I was sitting on the toilet. I was like, how is this legal? What on earth? So anyway, there we go. I was just having a wee on the toilet and there was a massive hole above not just my cubicle, but her cubicle as well. And I was like, what is going on? Is this intentional? There was no sign on the toilets being like, sorry, fellas, there's a hole in the ceiling. Don't worry, though. Nobody can see you. I was freaked out. No, thank you. That was not for me. When I tell you, I rushed out of there super quick. And also, because it was late at night and because the shop was it was probably like half an hour before closing. There weren't many people in the shop. There were a few people pootling about, but it wasn't like the cafe was closed. it was just very eerie. It felt like the beginning of a horror film, and I was like, and also the corridor to get to the toilet, it was a long old corridor. It was like going, there's this joke on the internet, if any of you have been to a Wetherspoons, that for some reason, when you go to a Wetherspoons, that the toilet is always just like, you have to go on a journey to find it, and it was like a Wetherspoons toilet in the sense where you just had to walk a long old way to find it. But yeah, that freaked me out. So there we go. That is a warning. Before you have a wee, look at the ceiling, just in case. Because, yeah, if somebody had popped their head out, I would have screamed. I would have freaked out. So, yeah, there we go. Talking about shopping, I thought I would tell you my little story about me giving myself the ick. And if you don't know what the ick is, even just saying the word, the ick, gives me the ick. Well, basically, it's something that is embarrassing, that shouldn't really be embarrassing, or maybe it's like a little bit of a turn off if you're talking about it in the sense of like somebody that you're interested in romantically. Anyway, so the other day I did a bit of shopping, and when I've been shopping for the garden lately, you guys know I've been giving you lots of garden updates, and went to my local TK Maxx. You guys know I'm a big fan of TK Maxx, but they had so many plant pots in the garden centre. These plant pots are £15. In TK Maxx, they were a £5. And I was so happy. All these terracotta pots. So you best believe I got a full-on trolley. I think I bought maybe 6 pots. Now these pots, they are heavy. They are not easy to move. And when I went up to the till, I was like, I'm really sorry. I've got a lot of pots. I might be here a little while. I always feel bad when you have a full-on haul at the supermarket or when you're shopping or that kind of thing. Because you're like, I'm sorry. I know I'm not making your job easy. You're just trying to go back by your day. And I was like, I'm sorry. I've got all these pots. So anyway, I had to lift all these pots out that were very heavy. And the guy scanned them all. And then I was like, is there any way of me like taking this trolley out to take it to my car? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll alert security on the door that you're going through, because the baskets that they have there have like the little beep, beep, beep security tags on. But also, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if, because I've had to do this before when I bought loads of at-home gym equipment, like I bought loads of weightlifting stuff, and so I have had to do this before, and I was like, oh no, this is so embarrassing, I'm gonna have to do it again, where basically the security there's some sort of magnet in the trolleys, so you can't actually escape. Like, it just stops them. Like, it just puts the brakes on the trolleys. So anyway, the way that the security works, I'm pretty sure, is that they turn off the brakes so you can go through and you can escape. I say escape, leave the premises. But the beep, beep, beep machine still goes off. And the embarrassment of me pushing this trolley and the beep, beep, beep machine going off. And I was there with my receipt, and I was like, don't worry. Like, there were people walking in, there were people walking out, there were people staring at me. And I was like, don't worry, guys, I'm not stealing anything. I have a receipt. I just am taking the trolley to my car because these things are heavy. And I was like, I don't want people to think I'm stealing. And I was like, I'm gonna look after this receipt with my life, because I'm one of those people where I am paranoid the police are going to come around tomorrow afternoon and they're going to be like, Esme Higgs, you have stolen some pots. We have the security footage of you walking out with the pots. And I'm going to be like, with the beep, beep, beep machine going off, I'm like, no, I didn't. I promise I had the receipt. But yeah, that freaks me out. I'm one of those people, I am such a goody two-shoes, and anything like mildly illegal, I'm like, no, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. So anyway, even though I didn't do anything illegal, it felt really scary, and I was giving myself the ick because I was here struggling with this trolley full of pots, trying to pull it along, the beep, beep, beep machine going off, everyone's staring at me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm giving myself the ick. I'm getting a little bit embarrassed here, but I was like, you know what? It's fine. I've got my cheap ass pots. I'm so excited. It's all good. It's fine. I've got my, it's worth it. It's worth it for the garden. It's going to, one afternoon, I'm going to sit out there with my dinner and I'm going to be like, yes, it was worth the embarrassment in TK Maxx to get these pots. So anyway, took them to my car. And then the other thing that I did after that was, what did I do? I went to the garden centre and I got some more plants. Somebody needs to restrain me. Somebody needs to restrain me next time I go to the garden centre, because it's not okay. Because to be fair, I have a lot of beds that are empty because they were just full of weeds and I had to take all the weeds out, and now they're just a little patch of brown dirt and it does not look cute. So I'm slowly filling it up with plants, which, can I tell you, plants are expensive. So you best believe I'm looking at all the crusty ones that are on sale, and I'm like, yep, just prune those dead leaves off and you'll be as good as new. You'll grow up to be a lovely, healthy plant. So anyway, I was out here with my trolley. I also got some wood chip to go on top of everything because there are some bald patches. There are some patches where there are no flowers. So I'm like, at least if I put some pretty wood chip over the top, it looks like I've done something. It looks like I've kind of done something with the garden. So I had all of these plants kind of really precariously balanced on top of the wood chip. And I was like, oh no. And as I was pushing my trolley out, one of the plants fell off. And I was like, oh, this is so embarrassing. I had to go and pick up the plant, and then the plant had some soil in. There was a bit of soil on the road or on the tarmac, and I was like, oh, goodness. Like, you know, when you just look at someone and you're just like, oh, bless them. It's just not going right for them, their day. That was me. The plant it just rolled into the road, and I was like, oh, no, I'm going to have to chase this plant like a bit of tumbleweed. And I was just like, you know, it's just one of those things, and I had the trolley, and I almost bashed it into the door, and I was like, this is the dyspraxia in this one is strong. Like, I am that person where I am just clumsy. I am a clumsy person. I will walk into a door, I'll walk into a wall, and you know, and also, I felt so embarrassed because the lady was scanning all the plants, and again, I felt really bad that I had all these plants that she had to scan. I dropped one of the plants, and it was just like, you know, when you're just like, girl, someone needs to stop rushing, just calm down, take a breather, you're going to be okay. Things are not going well for you right now, but it's going to be all right. I just needed that. I just needed to pause time, but like, okay, stop it. Anyway, so got my plants in, it was all fine, and yes. And to be fair, the garden, it is looking so good now, so it was worth the embarrassment. It was worth it. Well, that's what I'm going to tell myself anyway. So I have made a purchase for the garden. This might be an unnecessary purchase, but I believe that this is going to be one of the best things I've ever bought. Are you ready to hear what this is? So I have bought a swing hammock. And you might be like, Esme, what is this swing hammock you speak of? So it's like a little chair that, because actually, this is one of the selling points with the cottage. I actually still have the photo to this day of my dad on this child's swing at the bottom of the garden, because not the previous owners, but the previous owners before that we actually are kind of family friends with, he was a tree surgeon. So there is this massive oak tree at the bottom of the garden, or it might not be an oak tree, it's a really tall tree. And there is rope that hangs down from it. So there is this like swing. The previous owners did take the swing with them, but the ropes are still there. So for ages, I was like, I need to put something on it, even if it's just like a tire. And I was like, that's not very comfy. Like, it'll maybe be fun for like 5 minutes, and then I'll just never sit on that tire again. But if I get myself a little comfy chair, I can sit in there, I can read. I was like, this sounds really fun. And then I was like looking online, looking at all the different ones. And this one is a hammock chair. So it looks like a normal chair, but there's this little leg extending bit that pops out. Now I am going to have to get someone to take a picture of me in this, because I probably look ridiculous, but oh my goodness, it is so much fun. So satisfying, and I could fall asleep in there. I could have a little nap in there. If anyone's like, cool, where's Esme gone? I haven't heard anything for a while. I will be asleep in my little hammock chair, swinging in the breeze. So I just wanted to tell you guys about that, because it's one of those things where it's not that exciting, but to me, it's very exciting. Anyway, on to my next story. This is going to be a little bit of a bitty podcast. It's going to be me jumping here, there, and anywhere. But what did I get up to this weekend? I actually went to a local country show, which I used to go to all the time as a kid. Like my mum, it's the same sort of time of year every year, and it's actually, whenever that show is on, I'm like, oh, it's almost my birthday, which actually I've just realised the day that this podcast episode goes out, because it goes out on a Sunday, or sometimes a Saturday, Sunday, it will be my birthday. My birthday is on the Sunday, 2nd of June. There we go. And if you want to know how old I'll be turning 23, which sounds very old. I know there'll be people listening to be like, oh my gosh, that's so old. Or there'll be people listening to this be like, girl, stop chatting. Why do you think that 23 is old? It is not. But this is my reasoning behind why 23 feels old. Because when you're young, every birthday is one step closer to something exciting. For example, when you turn 17, I know in different countries it's 16, but in the UK, when you turn 17, you can learn to drive. When you're 18, you're legally an adult and you can actually buy safety scissors from WH Smith's, which I learned the hard way when I was 14, trying to buy these scissors for school. And they were like, I'm sorry, you're going to have to get your mum to buy those for you because you are under the age of 18. And do I still get ID'd for safety scissors? Yes, I do. Anyway, continuing on. I mean, you can go out. There's lots of different things that you can do. And then when you're 21, I mean, there's not much that really changes in the UK. To be fair, the only thing that's exciting now as I get older is that my car insurance gets cheaper. That is the only thing that is exciting nowadays. And wait until I hit 25. And then I think that's when things get a little bit cheaper with car insurance. But anyway, there's not really anything that I'm really... maybe like certain European countries... Maybe when you're 25, it's a bit easier to rent a car. But that's kind of it, really. And you know what made me feel old? Is that when you turn 23, you're closer to 25 than you are 20. And when you're 21, like, you know, you're still young. You're 21. Whoop, whoop. Like, that's kind of like a big birthday, isn't it? And when you're 22, you were only 21 last year. But when you're 23... You're 2 years away from 25. If you round it up, you're basically 25. You're basically halfway through to your 30s. You're basically almost 30. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch. But the thing that did make me think, oh my gosh, I've only got 2 years until I'm in the X Factor over 25s. And when I was younger, I used to think, oh yeah, the over 25 section, they're pretty old. Like, good for them chasing their dream later on in life. Like, but now... That's going to be me in 2 years' time. In 2 years' time, I'm going to be too old for Leonardo DiCaprio. Not that I'm going to be interested in him or anything like that. But, you know, there's that joke that he only dates people that are under 25. God, that makes me feel old. Has anybody seen Sabrina Carpenter? I think it was her. Sabrina Carpenter's 25th birthday cake, where she had a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio on it. Because that made me chuckle. That made me laugh. Talking about pop culture, do you know what? My dad... is the most teenage girl when it comes to dads. Like, he's in his 50s. He won't mind me saying that. And most dads, they are not down with the kids. Down with the kids actually sounds kind of cringe. I'm not going to say that. But he is the definition of girl dad. Because the other day, this literally came out of his mouth. Like, not even my friends, I think, are this into pop culture or, like, into this kind of stuff. Because my dad does occasionally use my Instagram as, like, a work Instagram for talking to brands and, you know, that kind of stuff. So sometimes I'll just scroll through my Instagram feed. And, obviously, you know, I follow all the girlies on Instagram. And he just went to me and be like, oh, my gosh, Ez, have you seen Bella Hadid? Sorry. Why did that come out so weird? Bella Hadid. Sorry. This is just so funny. He said, Ez, have you seen Bella Hadid's dress? And I was like, no. And I was like, wait a second. You're a 50-year-old man. Why are you interested in women's fashion? And then we had a whole conversation about all of the dresses at the Met Gala, and I was like, you are one of the girls. You are the definition of a girl dad. Like, where has this come from? But yeah, he's into all the celeb gossip. He's into all of the stuff. So there we go. I just thought I had to share this on the podcast. He is looking very embarrassed right now. But it was just funny. He just turned around and was like, have you seen Bella Hadid's dress? And I'm like, excuse me? Who am I talking to? Where has this come from? So anyway, what was I talking about before this? Oh, I was talking about my birthday and being old. So yeah, there we go. To 23. Like, 22 is exciting because it's like Taylor Swift 22. And 22 just sounds fun, but 23 is just meh. It's just, yeah. Anyway, just, you know, it's just a bit of an irrelevant birthday, really. Moving on. So yeah, sorry, country show. Whenever this country show is on, it always feels like my birthday because it would always be like the weekend before. And it's the weekend before this year as well. So there we go. But no, I had a lot of fun. I went in disguise. I was wearing my proper farmery outfit. I had my shuffle on. I had my check shirt, had my Fairfax boots. I did wear a cap and sunglasses because I was like, I'm not just going to go under the down low, gonna, like, not really disguise. I did get recognised once though, which was lovely. I met this girl who was actually it was in the pig area, so they had like little tents and areas and stuff, so it was in the pig area. I was looking around at the pigs, and because it was quite dark in there, I took my sunglasses off and she spotted me, so I did get spotted once, which was lovely, and had a little chat with her. She was actually competing, and I told her good luck for competing in she had the little board. I'm farmery, but I think she was showing the pigs, the pig showing. I haven't done that before personally, but she had a little white lab coat on, looked very good. So yeah, I was looking around at all the piglets, and they were all very cute. I wouldn't mind a little baby piglet. They were adorable. And then I looked at all the cows. They had little calves there as well. I just like looking at all the cute animals, and I'm like, I want to bring you all home with me. And then I'm like, if I bring any more animals home, I think my mum will cry, because she is the one that very kindly looks after them while I'm away. So there we go. But yes, so that was cute. That was fun. Looked around the old tractors. I just had a cute little day out, really, because I hadn't been there since I was a kid, and it was like a bit of a throwback for me. But it was just a lovely little country show. Got some good food. I was going to say there wasn't really anything like very noteworthy that happened. I met a lot of my friends there, so that was cool. And one of my friends was like, "Wait, is that Esme? Is that not?" And they were like, "It is," because my disguise was that good. I didn't even think it was that good of a disguise. They were joking how I was like, what's the guy called in You who just like, sorry, this is like very old. I promise I'm not a stalker, but he just basically wears a baseball cap as a disguise, and that's a good enough disguise for him. And they were like, "You're basically like that. You just put a baseball cap on and some sunglasses, and nobody would know." So I also had my farmery stuff on, so I was like blending in with the locals in the natural habitat. But anyway, so that was just a cute little day out. If you're ever don't know what to do in the summer, support your local country shows, because they're good. They're a good crack. They're good fun. Let me consult my notes app. What other interesting things? Oh, that has reminded me of a story that I forgot to tell you in last week's episode. So if you listen, I'm pretty sure it was last week's, where I was talking about Mickey and his poorly eye and having to be looked at by the vets in the tack room, because in the tack room it was nice and dark, so they could look at his eye. I forgot to tell you the most funny thing that happened while I was in there, apart from almost getting sprayed by Mickey's fart juice or whatever while I was wearing my white dress, was Mickey weed in the tack room, because he was all sedated up, and apparently when they're sedated it can make them, want to go to the toilet. So he went into the weeing position. If you're horsey, you will know the weeing position that horses do. They kind of stretch their legs out. We were like, oh no, code yellow, quick, somebody get a bucket. Luckily there was a bucket in the tack room that had like a drill and drill bits and I don't know, bits and bobs that we were using for renovating the stables. So I quickly chucked that in the corner, grabbed the bucket, put it underneath. I got there in time, and I was like, well, if any of you guys need to do a urine sample, I've got a bucket load here. So I quickly removed that out of the tack room before it stank it out. But yeah, I thought that was quite funny that now you guys know that Mickey has weed in the tack room before. Did not poo, luckily, but he has weed. So, of all the places, I would quite like to, I've always thought it would be quite fun to maybe take Duke around the kitchen and just see what he thinks to it. But my mum is like, no, because if he poos in the kitchen, that is never gonna, the stench is never gonna come out. Never. I'm like, but it would be really cute though. Like, we have a picture of Joey when he was a baby in the kitchen at his breeder's house, or his previous owner. He's only been owned by one other person before me, and we got him as a 5-year-old. So yeah, actually, talking about Joey, it's Joey's birthday as well. Joey is going to be, on the day of recording this, Joey's going to be 10 tomorrow, so it's his last day of being 9. It's going to be double digits, which that has actually blown my mind. Like, when I tell people I've had Joey 4 years, they're like, excuse me, no you haven't, you only got Joey last week. I remember the video where you brought him home. And I'm like, no, I've had him 4 years now, because we got him, at the beginning of the pandemic, so that was 2020, it's now 2024 at the time of recording, so that is wild. He has grown up so quickly. I mean, he is going very light, as I said earlier. Like, that boy, this is the summer, he is going white grey rather than steel grey, which is sad because there's going to be a lot of cleaning. But there's some areas where he's holding on, like his legs are still pretty dark, they're almost black. He's still got quite a dark mane, and his dark forelock does make him look darker. It's as soon as he's got an ear bonnet on, where you can't see the dark forelock, you're like, wow, this horse is a white grey rather than a grey or a dapple grey. So there we go. On that note, I think I'm going to finish off today's episode here. I hope you have enjoyed it and enjoyed hearing my little embarrassing stories, as usual, things I've been up to this week. There's been lots of little different stories. I hope you don't mind that, because normally I just ramble on about like maybe 2 or 3 topics, but today it's been here, there and everywhere. So let me know if you prefer that or prefer me talking about one particular thing. But anyway, I just want to say another huge thank you to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast, and a huge thank you to you guys for listening, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye!